Good morning and welcome to our morning conversation. We're beginning a new year with a special two-part conversation with Charlotte Lear and Mark Hughes. Mark and Charlotte are a married couple who have been part of our Trinity community since soon after moving to this area from Maryland several years ago. Mark has been challenged by Parkinson's disease from a relatively young age, and he and Charlotte carry on at the intersection of faith and doubt, hope and struggle. God's presence in their lives is often mysterious and sometimes very clear. And a conversation with them is the perfect way to start out this hopeful and mysterious 2021. Please seek out both days. Why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves and tell us about how you are connected to Trinity?
Okay, I'm Charlotte Lear. This is my husband, Mark Hughes. And we came across Trinity after we moved to Mount Joy, and we lived in the Crest near Trinity. And we were determined to find a church that was different from the one we had in Maryland, that was large, that had wonderful music. And I thought we'd look at a whole lot of Lutheran churches before we made a decision. And we actually, Trinity was, I think, the second church we looked at, and we didn't go any further.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's been wonderful to have you guys here. And yeah, we're glad that you found Trinity to be a place that, felt like home.
It did.
Yeah. Good. Well, so Charlotte, you have a story about a time when things changed a little bit for you guys and you had to make some decisions. So why don't you tell us about that?
Okay, well, really it's our retirement and relocation story. Mark and I were married in 1986. And then in 1995, as we approached our 9th anniversary, Mark was 43 and he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
Oh.
So he was a young onset Parkinson's disease.
Yeah.
And at the time, we lived in a raised ranch on a hill surrounded by woods in Ellicott City. The yard was on a hill, and Mark took care of all that.
Right.
And he continued, we continued without many life changes for another 6 years. And at that point, Mark decided to go on disability. And we sold that house and moved to a 55 plus elevator condominium nearby. I kept my job and did my commute, and we lived there. It was, again, his progress was very slow.
Right.
He had a deep brain stimulation in 2009, but continued to drive locally, and we had friends at the condominium.
Sure.
And I continued to work. So I worried about what I would do with my time, and I worried about where we would live. The condominium we bought was in a very heavily developing area. There was a farm across the street when we went there, but we were soon surrounded by shopping centers, townhomes, a whole development story, and it still continues.
Yeah, that area of Maryland really has built up so much.
Really is.
Yeah.
And I had always thought, and we'd always talked about maybe we would move to Pennsylvania. I have a brother now who lives in Elizabethtown, and I have a sister who lives in Harrisburg, and niece and nephews and grandnephews. So that was primary reason to look at Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So I retired in 2014, and Mark's Parkinson's continued to progress.
Sure.
So we started looking at continuing care retirement communities in 2015, and discovered that Lancaster County has a tremendous number of them, more than I think any place that I've.
Yeah, we're known for that, I think.
So we looked a little bit in Adams County. We looked at 3 down in the Hanover area.
Oh, sure.
But then the rest of them that we looked at were in Lancaster County. And the one major thing that I didn't mention was that my mother, as she aged, first lived with my brother in Elizabethtown in the Dauphin County area.
Oh.
And when she couldn't stay with them anymore, she was in the nursing care here at Masonic Village.
Oh, okay.
So she was here from about 2008 to 2011. And we visited probably once a month. So we became familiar with how to get here, where to go, where to eat lunch if we wanted to eat lunch.
Right.
And just in general became familiar with the area. But I never thought I wanted to live here because I thought I would always grieve when I saw where my mother, the building, the health care center.
Yeah.
So we weren't serious about Masonic Village.
Right.
And looked at a lot of other places. We finally took a tour here at the end of 2015. And the minute we came into one of the houses, I changed my mind.
There it was.
Yeah, the houses are spacious. They're well lit. Every one of them has a sunroom.
Yeah.
And we just felt like we should get on the waiting list. So we did. And in 2016, we sold the condominium. We moved to the Crest and stored our furniture while we were waiting for the call from Masonic Village. Now, we knew it would be 2 to 2.5 years. That's what they told us was the waiting list.
Right, okay.
And when we got here, we continued to look at some other communities. Just as backup, really.
Sure, yeah, you need a backup plan.
I had a spreadsheet.
I bet you did.
15 different communities.
Oh, wow.
Excuse me. I tried to plan it. I didn't want to let too much take a chance on it. But by the middle of 2017, Mark had started to have some more serious health issues. We still don't know why, but he started having seizures.
Oh gosh.
He may have hit his head. We're not sure what caused them.
Sure.
But he was using a walker or a walking stick or a cane, and within 3 to 4 months he was in a wheelchair full time.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So he just lost his balance, his abilities to stand and to walk.
Yeah.
So at that point, we weren't making progress on the waiting list. More and more concerned. We could get around in the apartment. It was single story, and there was a bathroom that would accommodate a wheelchair.
Right.
So we were okay, but I was just concerned that Mark's situation, his physical health would deteriorate to the point where we wouldn't even qualify for a duplex. I really wanted what I call a duplex. They call them cottages.
Yeah, okay.
It's really two houses connected, which to me is a duplex.
Right.
Well, that fall and winter started to get really stressful. I was extremely anxious.
Yeah.
Where are we going to go? When's this going to happen?
Right.
And all of a sudden, out of the blue, in December, we got a phone call from Masonic Village saying they had a house for us.
Oh my gosh.
We weren't seeing that we moved up on the list, but we had.
Yeah.
And we walked in the house that we're now in. They were in the process of converting it, and we knew really when we walked in that this was right for us. It's not the biggest of the homes, but it's very well lit. We can see the sunset. We have a vista where we see hills across the way, and we have space for Mark's art and space for my computer, and took about 3 months for them to finish the house. And here we are. Just the timing was so good because we were really on the edge of going someplace else.
Yeah.
Just because nothing was happening here.
Right. And I mean, it's, like you said, with the spreadsheet and the plan and all that, that really, but really having it be settled, you know, like knowing
Yes.
where you're going to be and how it's going to be, like that's really important to you guys. And especially with Mark's progressive condition, knowing that, you know, you're in a place where that is going to be okay, and you're going to have the resources that you need for that.
And I have to admit, we moved in at the end of March, and he started physical therapy here in our house with their home therapists in June. And he had an ex-Marine, I guess, for 2 months.
Yep.
And then the second person took over, and her father has Parkinson's. And she knew, between the two of them, within 4 months, Mark was out of the wheelchair much of the time.
Yeah.
Thanks to the resources here, Mark is, you know, he's turned that around a little bit.
Yeah, and that's a really fantastic thing.
Yeah, so he can go out now. We go to church. He uses the walker, but he's not using the wheelchair most of the time.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And it's wonderful to be at a place, you know, like you said, now in retirement, where people know you, you know, they've gotten to know you, they're getting to know you, and you have those resources there, like the physical therapy and things like that, where you're known, you know, and sort of they know where you've been, and they can see how you're progressing, and, you know, what you're capable of, and all those kinds of things. And that seems really important to me, and you know, one of the gifts of ending up where you've ended up.
And if I need a light bulb changed, I make a call. Actually, I do it on the computer. I fill out a work order request, and they show up. They'll call an appointment and come change my light bulb or fix my washing machine.
Yeah.
The other nice thing I like about it is that if I fall down, security will come and help get me back up on my feet.
Yes.
They'll help me get up so I don't end up bringing my right knee again.
Sure. Well, and just that there's an option for that's in, you know, obviously Charlotte. I mean, Mark, for people who don't know Mark, he's a big guy. I mean, he's a big man. And so there's an option between Charlotte, you trying to get him up by yourself, and calling 911, you know, like there's an option for that.
Yeah, they can get here very quickly, and Mark hasn't fallen where he's hurt himself, but he has a habit of sliding out of bed.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, need to install a spring at the bottom and just pop them up. I don't think that would work.
No, I don't think so either.
Well,